Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I am Lawrence. Prez and Teddy Covers is my co-host. You're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. And what a lineup we have today. 4 guests, not 3. Andy Lang, Ross Benjamin, Carmine Bianco, and Art Dicesare. We got a lot of baseball, soccer. We've got a NFL prop bet. Teddy's What Did Bettors Learn? Big game breakdown. I am pumped up, especially after that debate last night. And Teddy, that's where I want to start. Let's spend the first 10 minutes discussing our thoughts on the debate. Go. Okay, I'm kidding. I want to so bad.
That being said, I will talk about how the debate shifted the presidential odds last night significantly in a number of different places.
Plus 350 now.
Worth noting. Lawrence, I did all the work. Let's not jumping out, throwing out lines that, where's the plus 350? I didn't see a plus 350 this morning. Where'd you see that?
Clearly you didn't do all the work, Teddy.
Where's the plus 350? Because we'll talk about why the presidential betting odds are interesting because there is no WagerTalk
It's a little
live
bit blurry,
odds.
but Joe Biden plus 350, Gav at plus 550.
What book is that?
Bet 365, Teddy. The largest sports book in the entire world. But that's okay. You did the research. Andy Lang joining us, everyone. How are you, Andy?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. Top of the morning. Happy Friday to everybody.
Dude, I got so many good jokes about the debate last night, and I can't use them all. So if you guys want to hear them, I'll be golfing at 4 o'clock later today. I'll be telling them to my golf partner. So tag along. Andy, let's get into it, man. Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriault. This is a UFC fight. There's a big card tomorrow night. How do we bet this game?
We're getting great odds at plus money to take this fight over 2.5 rounds. This is a Joe Pyfer who's really very hyped. He's one of Dana White's favorites. He's got a great backstory. He hasn't fought great competition. And then in his last fight, he came out too hard, too early, went up against a veteran in Jack Hermanson, got tired in the first round, and just ended up getting, just a veteran performance against Pyfer. Pyfer ends up losing by decision because he didn't finish Hermanson in the first round. This was a learning experience for Pyfer. So what do I expect from him this time around? I expect him to be very patient. I expect him to come out, mind his P's and Q's, and manage the cardio. That's how he lost his last fight, was he got tired. So I don't expect him to go for this big finish early on like he has done in his career. He's fighting Marc-Andre Barriault, who's going to stand and strike. These guys can hit pretty hard, but both these guys are super, super tough. They're very, very hard to finish. Marc-Andre Barriault, his last 2 fights have gone the distance. So I think you're getting plus money because Joe Pyfer has a lot of finishes on his resume. This is a different fighter. This is a Marc-Andre Barriault who is really, really tough to knock out. So I think you see a patient performance from Pyfer. I think Barriault does what he does best, which is stand in the pocket, try and clinch, and work shots from the distance as well. I think it goes the distance, and you're getting plus money over 2.5 on this fight. I expect it to go the distance.
Look for the over between Pyfer and Marc-Andre Barriault. Let's talk some NFL. And this is one that makes perfect sense to me, but the casual bettor may not like it at all. You're talking about Christian McCaffrey's rushing yards, and you like the under in that bet. Of course, McCaffrey coming off a season in which he played in 16 games, had 272 carries for 1,459 yards. You're saying don't expect a repeat. Why not?
Well, Teddy, we're getting away from these nonsensical overs that I talked about on the last show. Let's take a running back under the rushing total. It's pretty simple. This number's so high. If he gets even a slight injury and misses a couple games, this is going to go under. And I think his last couple seasons have been unsustainable. 17 games in 2022 for Carolina and San Francisco combined, 16 games last year. And listen, 5.4 yards per rush last year, 1,459 yards. It was a great season. The San Francisco team that, listen, it's Super Bowl or bust for this team. I think they're going to manage him a little bit better here. I don't think they're going to give him another 272 carries along with 83 targets and 67 catches. That's just a lot of wear and tear on McCaffrey, who's 28 years old. So I think you're going to see other running backs mixed in. And Teddy, again, one little injury and this goes under. This is where we've made a lot of money over the years in futures and player props, is taking unders on these big, big numbers. And once they get a little injury and they miss a few games, this cashed for us quite a few times. We hit his under in 2020. We hit it in 2021. So I'm just taking unders on these running backs. We talked about an over in the last time I was on there, but that might be the only over we talk about for player prop futures.
Andy freaking Lang, as good as it gets, and I mean that sincerely. I mean, listen, I went into the record tool, Andy, and you are as good as it gets. You have a promo to give out, Andy 30. Get 30 days for $159. That includes Wimbledon. For all you people, that's a tennis tournament held in London, England, where they eat cucumber sandwiches. Andy killing it in tennis. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I mean, tennis is just, these majors are our bread and butter. 13-4 in tennis, and we really gear up for the first couple rounds. That's where the money is to be made. We had just an absolute banger the last tennis major. So wanted to run a 30-day special. That way you get all of our plays in all sports. I mean, it's noon my time. We've already cashed a couple of darts plays. We've already cashed a couple of Formula One plays for clients this morning. So the weekend is off and running. We've got 4% cross-sport parlay that is up for this weekend. But go grab the 30-day pass. That way you get all of the Wimbledon plays. These plays start Monday. We have a lot of plays in the first couple rounds. That's where all of the good matchups are. So take advantage of that promo code Andy30. It's 30 days for $159. WT.buzz/AL.
Brilliant stuff, Andy Lang, everybody. A couple of performances, or what's it? A couple of sit-ins. I don't know the word this week. Teddy, I love the jacket. You look good today, bro.
Thank you, Lawrence.
You want to get into what did bettors learn? I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the presidential odds and what happened last night. You know, it was basically a pick-em before the debate last night. In poker, you'd call it a coin flip. You can't find presidential betting odds on the WagerTalk live odds screen. You can't find them in the U.S. at all. All this money is global. That being said, they say the U.S. election is the biggest betting event in the U.K. every 4 years, for example. So when I'm tracking the market, I'm checking a handful of books, the books that I can find lines for, not necessarily books that Prez is talking about. And I'm going to talk about no vig lines to make it easier. So before the debate, all right, I'm looking at multiple sources, and I try to get a source that leans left and a source that leans right. Before the debate, Trump basically minus 110, Biden plus 110. At the book that leans left, at the book that leans right, it was more like no big line, Trump minus 140, Biden plus 140. All right, Biden was actually chalk at a few shops when Trump first got convicted of the felonies, but Trump had swung back around. So watching the debate, Prez, 5 minutes into it, I'm like, Biden couldn't have looked worse. Trying to decide if it's too soon. Is a June debate really going to move the needle on an election in November? I've seen odds flip in a hurry. Election night 2016, Hillary was 8-1 chalk, and basically less than 90 minutes later, Trump was 8-1 chalk. In 2004, on Election Day, the early exit polls out of Ohio had John Kerry winning Ohio, and all of a sudden George Bush was a plus $2 dog. And obviously, by later that night, he was a significant favorite. Obama-McCain odds in 2008 moved with the financial crisis. Took a couple of days for Obama to go from pick'em to 5-1 chalk. But that's Election Day stuff, and stuff close to Election Day. That's not June. So I go upstairs, see what's going on in the betting markets. And clearly, I'm not the only one who's interested in betting. Right then, money's pouring in on Trump, and I mean pouring in. All right, the minus 110 plus 110 became minus 150 plus 150. That's the book that leans left. the book that leans right at -260, Trump's -265 by the close of the night. Look this morning, $3 are out there. And as Lawrence mentioned, even -350 right now for Trump. This was basically a pick 'em.
No.
Yesterday.
At Bet365,
plus 350 for
which
Biden. Yes.
And minus
So
188 for Trump.
So what's the no vig line on that, Lawrence? Do you do the math? I'll talk about that. I also wanted to, while I finish what I'm talking about, there's lots of Gavin Newsom money.
Yes.
Right? This is interesting. In my opinion, that is Bronny James to go number one money. It's absolutely wishful thinking. It's just silliness. The Democratic convention is a bunch of Biden supporters. If he quits, it'll be some Kamala. There's no chance for Michelle Obama, 0%. There's 0% chance of Gavin Newsom. So in my opinion, right now, there's a good bet to be made. Biden to win the Democratic nominee. I saw -150 this morning. It's also worth noting, Electoral College margin money. Money for the Republicans last night by these margins. 35 to 64 electoral votes, 65 to 104 electoral votes, and 105 to 154 electoral votes. Lots of sharp money for Republicans to win by margin. Sharp money last night, lots of it. None of it. Good news for the Democrats and Joe Biden. Prez, that's what I learned.
Teddy, listen, I don't know if you're right about Gav. I look at this and I think to myself, they're going to switch Joe out.
Stop. They. Who are they?
The Democrats, the leading members of the Democrat Party. I do not believe Joe Biden will stand in November. But what do I know, dude? I'm just like a sports bettor, entrepreneur, golf guy.
Exactly. So the Gavin Newsom money that's coming is probably coming from people like you. All right. It's, in my mind, the single best bet to make today at the current numbers is Biden to win the Democratic nomination. That's -150 that I saw this morning. And I think that is a positive expectation wager. That's my take. I'm interested in the markets.
I do not agree with you. I want to tell everybody about our texts and whatnot last night, but we're
absolutely not.
We're going to move on. I know, Teddy, we have skirted the political talk beautifully.
And we will forever.
One has a clue which person we want to win, where we stand. Well done, Theodore. Ross Benjamin joining us. Ross, how are you, my friend?
Yes, sir. I have no complaints whatsoever. Always a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen.
Well, we love having you here, and hope you enjoyed the debate yourself last night. Mick Jagger is 6 months younger than Joe Biden.
Let's talk about the Giants and the Dodgers on a day that we have 4 guests, and we have the fourth guest is supposed to be on the show
today,
in 16
Teddy.
minutes.
So lippy.
Giants and the Dodgers right now. Looking at the WagerTalk free live odds screen, a great valuable tool for anyone that wants to use it on a daily basis. Basically, this game's a pick 'em. Right now, San Fran -110, total 7.5, juice to the under. How do you want to play it tonight in San Francisco between LA and the Giants?
All right, I'm going to lay the juice with the under here, Teddy. Landon Knack gets a start for the LA Dodgers. He's made 5 starts this year as he started the year in AAA. But since coming up, and I believe he came up, got sent back to AAA and came back up again. In any event, 5 starts this year, 2.10 ERA, 0.93 WHIP. The downside to that is he only averages about 5.1 innings pitched per start, but the LA Dodger bullpen over the last 5 has been absolutely lights out with a 1.17 ERA and 0.76 WHIP as a staff. Knack will also be facing the Giants team averaging just 6.2 hits per game over the last 5. The Dodgers had an off day yesterday. They're coming off a 4-0 win at the White Sox on Wednesday. The Dodgers have played 17-4 to the under this year after winning by 4 runs or more in their previous game, and those games average a combined 6 runs per game. Logan Webb 7 home starts this year. If you want to talk about guys that are Jekyll and Hyde home and away, Logan Webb is there's a picture next to him in that description. And 7 home starts this year, a 2.06 ERA, a 106 WHIP, averaging 6.9 innings pitched per start this year, and only allowing 2 home runs over 48 innings pitched. The San Francisco bullpen, 2.83 ERA, 126 WHIP, 45 Ks and 35 innings pitched. Not bad over the last 7. And Webb, 2 starts this year versus the Dodgers. He was terrible at Dodger Stadium early in the year, but at home, playing true to form here with the home and away, 6 scoreless innings against the Dodgers in his last start at home against the LA Dodgers. So I'm going to go Dodgers, Giants under 7.5, Teddy.
Ross Benjamin, we're going to keep the follow-up questions to 0 on the show as we have 4 guests going. And plus, some guy keeps going off topic. The Bear came out. Make sure to watch that. Not that I'm off topic. Love all you guys in the chat room. If you like what you're hearing, please take a second out of your day and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well. Ross, you've got a bet for us on the Chicago Cubs against the Brew Crew. What is it?
All right, I'm going to look at the first half total here, which is 4.5. Jameson Taillon gets a start for the Cubs. Real good form over his last 3 with 1.42 ERA, averaging 6.3 innings pitched per start. All 3 of those starts, those games went under the total. Taillon is just 1-4 and his team starts on the road, but it's no fault of his as he's posted a 2.79 ERA in those 5 starts, and he's been victimized by either the bullpen blowing games or a lack of run support, which is a common theme for the Cubs of late. The Cubs bullpen, by the way, 5.50 ERA and 1.50 WHIP on the road, and blowing 10 of 18 save opportunities. Terrible. I'm going to actually cut them right out of the equation and go right to the first 5 innings total. And the Cubs, like I said earlier, anemic offensively, especially of late, 3.5 runs per game over the last 7, only 5 home runs. Colin Ray gets a start for the Brewers, 6-1, and the team starts at home with a 2.76 ERA, a 0.97 WHIP, averaging 6 innings pitched per start at home this year. His last 3, he has a brilliant 0.87 WHIP. I put a lot more emphasis on WHIP than ERA when it comes to starting pitching. And 1 start versus the Cubs this year, 5 1/3 innings pitched, only allowing 1 earned run on 5 hits. I'm going to go under the total of 4.5 in the first 5 innings in this game.
Ross Keitel, everybody. Harvey Benjamin. Brilliant stuff. Dude, today you were next level. We asked you to keep it short. You demonstrated the ability to keep it short. Congratulations. How are you doing with the clients, and what do you have going?
Yeah, well, the client's telling me to keep it short, too, against on my videos. So, I don't know. I'm going to start either talking in sign language or reading off of fine print. Anyway, 8-5 over the last week with my Major League Baseball selections, with my premium plays. Right now, great special going on at WagerTalk is you can get the rest of my Major League Baseball selections through the All-Star break for just $89. You go to my personal page, wt.buzz/RB. You'll see a $109 package through the All-Star break for my Major League Baseball picks. Click on that, and then at checkout, just use the promo code STAR89. That will bring you down to $89. A little more than $3 a day, you Prez. And also keep an eye on my 5-star, 5-unit, 5% top plays, whatever term you want to use, 20-8 run with those plays, good for 71%.
Freaking awesome numbers, Ross, and they just keep going. Teddy covers. Sorry about that. Eric D thinks you look sharp in that jacket as well. It's time for your big game breakdown, bro. Let's keep the show moving.
Yeah, we're rolling today. This proves that if we have
unbelievable,
we can do a show fast. All right, let's talk a little MLB for Friday with today's big game breakdown. I know I'm knee deep in the NFL. I know the season win report comes out next Tuesday, but right now The baseball's heating up. I've won 3 in a row. I'm on a 69% run over the last 11 days. And I want to talk Texas and Baltimore. Right now, look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. We're seeing Rangers money. We're seeing over money. Baltimore down to minus 120 at a lot of books, minus 125. Total 8.5, juice to the over. I'm not interested in the full game line. Texas is not playing good baseball. Their bullpen's been a disaster. And if I'm going to back the Rangers, I want them with Max Scherzer and not thereafter. And I'm interested in the Max Scherzer piece of the Texas Rangers for today. There's urgency for Texas right now. They've lost 4 in a row. They've had a terrible road trip. They lost in extras. They lost a couple of winnable games in Milwaukee. Got bombed yesterday in the opener of this series. Gave up 4 dingers. And now they got their ace on the hill. And Scherzer was real good in his debut last week. 5 innings pitched, 57 pitches only. 1 hit, 0 walks. Now, that was KC at home. This is Baltimore and Baltimore. Different offensive animal. I get it. But I still like Scherzer to make his way through 5 innings relatively unscathed. On the other side of the equation, we've got Suarez for Baltimore. He's been declining in June. The full season numbers, they're lying a little bit. He's got an ERA of 2.70 for the season. But we're talking about a guy who wasn't supposed to be a starter, a part-time fill-in starter. Injuries have forced him back into the rotation. And he's been hit hard his last 2 starts. Both times, 16 hits, 8 walks allowed, just 8.2 innings. I think he's vulnerable again here. And Texas, despite only scoring 2 runs last night, had 12 hits in that ball game. They just couldn't get the clutch one. Bottom line for me, I'm not interested in full game for the Rangers right now. But first 5 for Texas makes a whole lot of sense. Again, taking the current numbers on the WagerTalk live odds screen, you find it plus money right now at Pick'em, and I'm interested in the Rangers at that price. Give me Texas first 5 against Baltimore. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers. Let's keep it going. Carmine Bianco joining us and slightly under the weather. How are you, my friend?
And my birthday yesterday, spent it in pajamas doing work. I stayed home all day. I didn't go out with any of my buddies. Didn't go out for dinner. It was a great trip in Vegas. I got to see the crew and take you guys to dinner, and I had a great time. So I'm ready to get back to the grind here.
Okay, let's get into Euro 2024, the knockout stages. Germany playing Denmark Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern. How do we bet this game?
Yeah, so, the line on this one, Germany, obviously Germany won their group, their host nation. They played extremely well in the opening 2 games, but those were games, they should have won against Hungary, against Scotland in the opener. They had a little more trouble with Switzerland because Switzerland's a very good defensive team, and that's what I want to focus on. They had a tough time against Switzerland. They needed just a draw in that to secure top spot, and they struggled offensively. Switzerland was able to shut down that midfield, minimize the chances. I think Germany only had 3 shots on goal in that game with 18 attempts. And now you get Denmark, a team that notoriously is able to shut down good teams. They play all the top European teams, so it's not a team that's coming in inexperienced. Their last 27 games, they've only lost 6 times, Denmark, that is. And only once in those 6 losses have they lost by 2 goals or more. It was actually a 2-0 loss. Last 15 games, they've only allowed an opponent to score 2 goals, and that was that 2-0 loss in qualifying. The line here is the handicap line is Germany -1. I believe it's plus 105, but you can get Denmark +1, -125, and that's the play I'm going to make here because I think Denmark keeps them at bay here, and we have to remember the 2021 Euros. There were 15 knockout stage games. Eight of those 15 games went into extra time. And if you're holding a +1 ticket and the game goes to extra time, regardless of what happens, your bet is a winner because it is graded on 90 minutes plus injury time. Everything that happens after that doesn't even come into play. So Denmark +1, -125. And that's a client play of mine. So I've got money on it.
That's Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. Denmark live to hang with Germany, not necessarily to beat them, but +1 -1/4, says Carmine Bianco. Let's talk about the Copa America group stages. Chile, draw. Canada, what's the play? Saturday night on the East Coast, Saturday evening here on the left coast. What do we want to do between Chile and Canada?
This is obviously they're playing the Copa America for the first time in the U.S. A lot of CONCACAF teams in there: Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica, the USA, and Canada, and Jamaica, of course, as well too. But the South American teams are just that much better, with the exception of, I think, the U.S. The U.S. have a very good team, although they sort of lost their cool yesterday against Panama. But this Canada team comes off a grueling game in which they beat Peru. Red card to Peru. Canada scored about 20 minutes later in the 74th minute. They played in Kansas City at Children's Mercy Park. It was exceeded 100 Fahrenheit on the field. Even one of the linesmen collapsed on the field. It was so hot. A lot of cooling breaks. And Peru is such you can call them physical. You can also call them dirty. Body on body in soccer. You don't normally see it a lot. They're such a physical team. Canada still got the win, but they were gassed at the end of that game. And I just don't know what they're going to have left, because Chile plays the exact same style. They did it to Argentina in a 1-0 loss on match day 2 as well too. Chile needs to win here. And we're getting a good line. Well, I thought this would open at about Chile -120. It actually opened at Chile +109. And I think that's the right play here. Well, I am Canadian and I want to cheer for the Canadian men's national team. I think the right money is Chile here, taking it here. I think as the game wears on, even if it's scoreless, it's going to be tougher and tougher for Canada here. And I think Chile is the right play, +109.
Yeah, and Canada has not looked good. They're all out of sorts. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Plus, who doesn't like chili? I prefer mine a bit spicy. Carm, you got a promo, a birthday promo. Carm 27. Carm is 27 as of yesterday. Times 2 plus 3
Sharp money
divided by 1 plus 100. He's got a $27 off a 7-day all access. Tell us why people should take advantage of that.
Every single game, I think every knockout stage game, opening 8, other than one game, I have a play on. Full analysis on every game. I'm really looking forward to the knockout stage games. I think it's going to be a money maker. We have Copa America plays. I have a 5% total up. Number 1 at WagerTalk in soccer with 5%, 4 and 5% totals lifetime. I've got one up for tomorrow, and I have a Euro 5% play up on Tuesday, July the 2nd as well too. So those plays in themselves are $35. So for $72, you get 7 days of plays, which includes both those 5% plays. So I think that's a great deal.
Awesome stuff, Carmine Bianco. Wow, Teddy, we really are motoring through this show. Before we bring on the awesome Art Dicesare, I want to make mention that I have my first Canadian Football League play is up for my clients. My first one of the year. I do not have many Canadian football plays. But I'm so deeply connected into the ownership group of a lot of these teams, as well as I know some players and I know analysts. Like, this is the one sport where I have the most connections. And, man, my play tonight, Theodore, I'm going to text it to you. This is a really strong bet. Speaking of bet, Art Dicesare joining us, everyone. Arthur, welcome to the show. Did you enjoy the debate last night?
Sure.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Sure.
So let me ask you this.
It was comical.
If political betting was allowed in the U.S., would that rival Super Bowl? Would it be bigger than Super Bowl? What's your take on what political betting would look like at the Westgate?
Yeah, Teddy, I know this question has been asked before, and I'm going to lean on the people who have, who are mentoring me and have been in the business 20, 30 years. And they say without a doubt political presidential betting would be as big as the Super Bowl, if not bigger.
So, are you guys lobbying the Nevada Athletic Commission or the Gaming Commission? I mean, is it something that we could see for 2028, or is it too much? Are you worried about the ticket writers getting accosted for when the fix is in?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I don't know if it's ever been brought up to Nevada Gaming or if it's something that's ever even been on the docket, but I haven't heard any whispers or rumors about it. But I know for us, we would love it because of the handle. I mean, if you're going to say we get another Super Bowl handle on a different event, why wouldn't we be all about it? So, of course, for us, anything that we can put on a betting menu that would draw in customers and dollars is something, obviously, we would be all for.
Well, I'm very interested in what you have on the betting menu over at the Westgate. Of course, I'm with Arthur Dicesare, ArtDice21 on Twitter, and a risk management supervisor over at the Westgate Superbook here in Las Vegas. I'm very interested in some NFL talk for today. My NFL season win report comes out next Tuesday, and I want to know where the money is flowing when it comes to NFL season wins. When you look back at your openers, when you see the numbers right now, I got my pen and pencil ready. You tell me where the early money has flown, overs and unders, when it comes to season win totals.
Absolutely. I got a bunch that we can hit on, Teddy. Number one for me would have to be the Cowboy under. We opened Cowboy under 10, total was 10.5. It was juiced to the under minus 120. We saw significant money come in on that last week. We've now moved to Cowboys 10, so moved it half a win to 10, still juiced to the under at minus 120. And then that actually correlated with Eagle money that came in on the division. Eagle money came in on the division at plus 120. We're now Eagles to win the NFC East at minus 120. So that's a nice correlation there. Public is all over the Lions, over 10.5 wins at plus 110. That is a very public play. Another public play is the Raiders under. Under 7, open pick, but we still had to move it because of the money. And it's not sharp money that moved it. It's really been the public money that's come in on the Raider under. We're now under 7, minus 140. A couple of sharp totals to talk about as well. Vikings over 6.5. I know we touched on that weeks ago. 6.5 over minus 120. We've seen sharp money consistently come in on all sorts of numbers. Haven't moved to 7 yet, but we're sitting Vikings 6.5 over minus 150. And then a little bit of correlation there, too, on their yes to make the playoffs at plus $3. We're now sitting at plus 250 on the yes for the Vikings to make the playoffs. Sharp money also came in on the Giants under 6.5. That was 6.5 flat, minus 110 both ways. We're now sitting Giants under 6.5, minus 130. So move that 20 cents. And a very public team in all aspects, in everything, Super Bowl, MVP tickets, division, everything, is the Rams. The Rams have been very public, and they've been very public on the yes, plus 115 to make the playoffs. And we've had to shift the odds to yes, plus 105 on the Rams. Nothing sharp there. Very public on the Rams.
So out of all of those plays, and that was great, I mean, just to recap, Dallas under, Philly to win division, Detroit over, Raiders under, Vikings over, Vikings to make the playoff, Giants under, Rams yes to make the playoffs, and Rams a little bit of over money as well. That's the recap of what Art just said. Art, does any of those stand out to you? Have you done your NFL work yet? Are you looking at any plays in the NFL? Do you have any early opinions that contradict these, correlate with these, or on any other teams that you want to talk about?
No, Teddy, I think to me the one that really stands out is the Vikings. And I know a lot of people like the coach, but, I mean, what's the quarterback situation? Really, what's the defensive situation? I know they drafted a couple of nice young rookies. That Dallas Turner kid is odds-on favorite to be Defensive Rookie of the Year at 13-2. So, I don't know. I get that it's a low number at 6.5, and, who really knows about the NFC, but I thought that was the shocking one to me. Dallas, to me, is not shocking. I think the sharps always look for a reason to go against maybe a Dallas number that's juiced. And I think they did that both with the division and both with their total wins. I mean, 10's still a nice number, but the fact that it was sitting 10.5, I think the sharps figured, hey, They go 10-7, we still cash. So, I can understand that. And to stay within the division, even as a Giants fan, 6.5 seems a little high to me. And, 6.5, flat. I could see the under money coming in there. This is obviously a make or break year, not only for Daniel Jones, but for the coach Dable. They obviously are a young team who have limited offensive weapons. Maybe Neighbors helps. He was, the 6th pick in the draft. But the Giants getting to 7-10 seems like a stretch.
So let me follow real quick, Art, because I know Prez has questions to ask you as well. But when it comes to the global marketplace versus the Westgate Superbook, do you guys pay attention to what what other books are doing? Are you moving numbers based on a global move if it hasn't come to you? Because I know Dallas at 10, that's a fairly unique line to the Superbook. Do you have those for other teams, or is it mostly at this stage it's a global number and you guys are adjusting juice more than the actual wins themselves?
Yeah, Teddy, Dallas is the one that we did have to move off the 10.5 and go to 10. Most of the time right now, especially these numbers have been out, let's say 4, 5, 6 weeks tops. We like to just play with the juice. If over money comes in at 20, we're going to get to 50, even 60. Perfect example is the Vikings. We've taken over money consistently at minus 120, minus 130, minus 140. We're now sitting minus 150. And if we still get a couple more bites of the apple at over 6.5, minus 150, then we'll start thinking about going to the next number 7. Haven't wanted to go there yet. So right now, we definitely play with the juice and want to do that. But you're right. I mean, do we look at the other markets and look at the other books? Of course we do. And we understand that if there are different numbers, people are going to come in and shop numbers. And we know that's part of the process. And we understand, too, that for us, that's why it's very important for our sharp bettors to come in and maybe let us know that a number's not right or the juice isn't right. And then we can kind of book to that action, which is something we always want to do.
Art Dicesare joining us, everyone. Art, let's stay with football. You taking lots of bets on Canadian football? I mean, I think it is getting bigger, but it still doesn't move the needle, right?
I'll say this, Prez. Let's just compare it to UFL. I think the CFL takes 10 times the bet that the UFL was taking. Nobody seemed to be interested in this United Football League. CFL has its niche market and definitely has bettors that like to come in and make bets on the game. So is it as big as some of these other sports? Of course not. But I think the CFL, you've seen the rise in the popularity of the betting. And I like to just compare it to the UFL. It slaughters the UFL in a betting game.
Do you have any CFL action for us for this weekend?
Nothing that comes off the top of my head. I know last night, and obviously this is a game that already happened, but I know there was a lot of steam last night on BC. I know that the Lions took a lot of money. That was, something that was at 6, 6.5, got to as high as 7.5, and the number just kept going below and above the key number of 7 as a football number. So that was something. But moving forward through the summer, if I start to see more CFL sharp action come in, because a lot of it is sharp action early, I'll keep everyone of note.
Yeah, please do, because I think there's just so much value in betting that sport. Art, we're in the knockout stages of the Euros, and I guess this is still in keeping with football, as that is what they call it. Any bets? What, Teddy?
Football.
No.
I'm spelling with the U and the
That's played in Brazil. That's played in Brazil only, and it's 3-on-3. So no, Teddy.
No, that's not what I was talking about.
FUTBOL.
What question do you want to ask? I don't want to fight with you.
FUTBOL is not soccer. It is a sport they play in Brazil. 3 to a side. Art, soccer. Any bets for us?
Well, let me just say this about the Euro 2024. It's been a really nice handle on the event. Every day when we have games going on, not only games first half, when we put up second half lines, which is something we don't do for most soccer events. Even EPL, we don't put up second half, things of that nature. So, when you have the Euros, you have Copa America, you have the World Cup, you have to offer a little bit more of an expanded betting menu. But just to look at the futures, England's still the favorite for us at 7-2. That's basically where they were at the start of the tournament. Spain has been the big jump for the odds. Pre-tournament for us, they were about 8-9-1. Took a sharp bet on them there. We moved them to 13-2 before the tournament started. They're now the second choice at 4-1, and I think everyone feels they have the easiest game going against Georgia, and they look to be the easiest team to advance. So that's why you've seen the Spain odds really drop, and now they're the second choice.
So, Prez, just real quick, Google's a very powerful tool. You're thinking of futsal is 3-on-3.
Yes.
Thank you, Dean Alexander.
Okay.
Not football, which is soccer. It's called is the obsolete spelling of football. So,
Okay.
you were wrong again. Now you can ask your next ball.
Art, Wimbledon starts on Monday. You taking any future bets that we need to know about?
We always take a lot of action on these Grand Slams. It is, our tennis betting is actually really expanded in the time since I've started, but obviously you see a lot on the majors. Match to match, you'll see stuff, but of course everybody wants to bet the futures. Sinner for us is the favorite in the men. Slight favorite. Plus 175 over Alcatraz, who is 2-1. Novak's going to be 350. That's 7-2. So those are your men's. Women's a little bit more open. Sabalenka, favorite. Iga is going to be second. Rybakina, who's been a big, betting favorite in all these majors. Everyone likes to bet Rybakina. She's the third choice. And, of course, Coco, who's always pretty good on this surface, fourth choice at 13-2.
So, Prez starts the show every day, and he usually calls this the best sports betting show on the planet. I'm going to ask you guys straight out. Where else are you going to get info like this? All right. I don't know that there's any other show that you're going to find this type of quality information from the type of guests we have right here, including Arthur Dicesare, who absolutely is sharing it. He's dropping the gauntlet today. It's been nothing but strong info from risk management supervisor over at the Westgate, again, at ArtDice21 on Twitter. We appreciate him so much, even during the summer months when people take time off. Art still takes time out of the day to hang out with us here on WagerTalk Today. So I'm going to ask you this, Art, before we let you go. What sport do you want to talk about? You want to talk some MLB? You want to talk some college football? I do want to ask you one quick NBA question. And I already know the answer, but I think the audience should know it as well. Does the NBA draft move the needle in any way when it comes to NBA futures? Simple yes, no.
No.
Thank you. Now, what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk baseball, Teddy. Yeah, of course. Let's talk some baseball.
Teddy needs a pat on the back, Art. Something's
true,
wrong
man.
with
it.
him.
It doesn't move the needle. Come on, it doesn't move the needle, especially when it's a weak
Not
draft.
even a little.
I mean, no, exactly. Even if it was a strong draft, it would barely move the needle. But just talking baseball, early sharp action that came in overnight. This is an interesting game. Blue Jays took money at plus 105. This is against the Yankees. They moved to as high as favorited at minus 111. We were seeing them there. Took some buyback on the Yankees. We're now sitting basically at pick'em. We got Blue Jays minus 106. So early sharp money on the Blue Jays. Early sharp money on Texas. I know you talked about that, Teddy. Took sharp money at plus 118 overnight. We're now sitting plus 105. And some White Sox sharp money, which you are rarely going to say. Took at minus 112 at home against the Rockies, moved them all the way up to minus 124. And the public, these are their two big ones today that are in all the parlays. Red Sox at home against San Diego, and the D-backs, which are up to minus 170 now at home against Oakland. Overnight, they were like 150, 155. So you've seen some steam go up there, but it's a lot of public stuff putting them in parlays.
Brilliant. What a show. Art Dicesare. You killed it, man. We had 3 guests before you. We moved through them so quickly to give a huge segment for you. Totally my fault. I thought you weren't coming on today. I misread our texts. But hey, when Art Dicesare wants to come on, we make it happen. Teddy, you got some serious issues today, bro.
Art, promote. Tell us what you got going on over at the Westgate Superbook.
Oh, yeah. Of course, guys. There's always, listen, you guys know I love coming on with you guys. This is, when I come on, it's my favorite part of my day. And, as always, guys, come down to the Westgate. We got everything going on right now. Still got the Euros rolling. WNBA, a lot of props going on with there. Baseball still in full roll. Of course, you can still come in and, bet things like MVP and division. We keep a lot of odds up throughout the year for baseball, always updating them daily and weekly. So still a lot to go on the futures menu in Major League Baseball. And, of course, all the football stuff. And as always, if you have any questions, you can come in, you can ask for me, you can reach out to me on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it, and I'm more than happy to answer questions.
Art Dicesare. Art, next time you're on, we're going to have a Teddy roll his eyes drinking game. We'll do a shot every time. Within 5 minutes, we'll be hammered. Thanks for joining us, bro. Love having you on. What a fun show, Teddy. Thank God it's over. I will not be around on Monday. Steve Merrill's sitting in my seat. It is a holiday Monday in Canada, and we are all going to the cottage. Theodore, take us home.
Enjoy the games. Best of luck. Have a great weekend. We'll be back again on Monday with another edition of Wager Talk Today. Between now and then, cheers.